She's a good friend to No Kid Hungry and a powerful advocate for the children of North Carolina, especially when it comes to their nutrition. Please welcome to the stage our good friend, Dr. Lynn Harvey, Director of School Nutrition and District Operations at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Luann. Thank you, Luann. And I do want to take this opportunity to congratulate Luann and the No Kid Hungry team for another outstanding Hunger Leaders Conference. Thank you for bringing us all together to talk about a topic that is so important to all of us and so near and dear to our hearts. And I want to take this opportunity to reflect on something that was said earlier this morning by Matt Smith. I'm not sure if he's still with us in the room, but Matt talked about the field of dreams. And he said from that story was, if you're right. Now I want to speak to the school nutrition community for just a moment. For how long have we dreamed about having teachers, principals, superintendents, local board members, state board members, advocacy groups come with us and embrace the school nutrition program and personnel as partners in education? How many of you have dreamed that dream that this day would come? Well, it's here. As you heard from teachers and principals and advocacy groups this morning, everyone is embracing the importance of making certain that children have nutritious, affordable, appealing meals and that they have access to those meals while at school. So that dream has now become a reality, and that's something for us to celebrate. So it's time for us to dream again. Let's think for a moment. What's the next level? I want to invite you to join me today in embracing the dream that collectively we can and will provide all meals to all children at no cost to the students in North Carolina as part of the instructional day. That's our next goal. All meals, all children, at no cost to the children, because school meals are part of the instructional day. If we dream it, if we build it, they will come. So let's work collectively to make that happen. We have a saying in our division, and that is, we think nutrition because students can't think without it. Nutrition, not just about the nutrients that children consume. It's about the foods. It's about the flavors. It's about the experience that they have while they're nourishing their bodies, their minds, and their souls. I'm going to be joined today by 4 people who have worked really diligently to make sure that those meals are not just nutritious, but they are delicious and they're appealing to students. So first, I'd like to invite Susan Thompson to join me. Susan is my colleague at the Department of Public Instruction, where she and the team of the K-12 culinary team have worked together to develop and bring to life the K-12 Culinary Institute. How many of you have participated in the K-12 Culinary Institute? Wonderful. And how many of you are embracing those menus on your meals now? Good. Continue to do that, because the next level of engagement is going to be with parents. We're going to start letting parents know all the wonderful things that you're doing with the K-12 culinary menu. So here to tell you more about what's happening in the K-12 Culinary Institute environment, Susan Thompson.
Thank you, Lynn. We're really excited to be able to continue the Culinary Institute. Just a quick little background. We started discussing this several years ago, and in 2015, we partnered with our K-12 culinary lead instructor, Chef Cindy Story. And Cindy really hit the ground with us running by assembling a great team of assistant instructors and technical writers. Cindy has a knack of being able to put together a team who are culinary trained, they know school nutrition, and they really get it. And that's a hard combination to put together. And most of her team are also registered dietitians. So when you start trying to assemble someone who has a culinary degree, who's a registered dietitian and has worked in school nutrition, that's a hard bill to fill, but she did an excellent job. And Chef Cindy and the team started with us in 2015, and for the next few months, it was at lightning speed. They developed over 200 new recipes for us to be able to begin using in our schools. In summer of 2016 and every summer since then, we have been able to offer the K-12 Culinary Institute, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the later slides. But the graduates don't get to prepare all 200 of these recipes, but they do get a fair number of them in their summer workshops, and then all of the recipes are available to all of our schools to use. And I saw some hands go up, as Lynn mentioned, and her question about, you know, who was using them, and we'd like to really, really encourage that. The recipes are prepared by our chef instructors. They merchandise them on the serving lines. They get to see what the items should look like, and best of all, they get to taste what they should really taste like. And then they share their experiences in breakout times after they've done that, and share what worked, what didn't work for them, or how they think the items will be embraced by their students. And while a lot of what we do is demonstrated by putting it on the serving line, there are many of the items which are what we could call packaged or be placed in a container for grab-and-go meals or, you know, kiosk-type service. So just because I'm showing you several slides here of foods on a serving line, I want you to be really clear that there are many of these recipes which can be adapted to other more innovative ways of meal service. So once we get our graduates there in the summertime, it's showtime. Chef Cindy and her team bring them together in a classroom with demonstrations, classroom discussions, and share with them a lot of the good basic chef-oriented skills, knife skills, how to care for the knives, how to do various cuts, you know, such as wielding the knife on a huge watermelon and making it easy to be able to get it in manageable serving pieces for kids, how to do julienne cuts, how to do all sorts of, you know, other types of cuts. The rolling of the carrots so that they can get a nice attractive size which will roast well. And in addition to those basic demonstrations and skills, she also does sessions about work scheduling and food production to meet our just-in-time service. Lynn talked about having, you know, appealing, delicious, you know, high-quality meals, and we have to make sure we're preparing foods well and we're doing it in a timely manner so that we get hot, fresh food to the line or cold, fresh food to the line, depending on the item. So there's a good mix, I think, of classroom and demo instruction coupled with in the kitchen practice. So once we've done a little bit of the classroom stuff, we get our chef ambassadors to the kitchen where they start wielding the knives and practicing their skills. They start, even on day one, morning one, they start preparing items which they will consume for lunch for that day. And we are so grateful of our school hosts, which I will talk about in just a minute, for allowing us to use their facilities. And we like to invite, you know, the principals and any of the office staff and other school personnel who might be there during the summer to join us and get a sneak preview of what they might seem to come. So once we send the folks to the kitchen, we will be demoing and letting them practice things like blanching. Now, I grew up on a family farm, and we pretty much grew what we ate in the garden, and when my grandmother and my mother and aunts would talk about blanching, they were talking about that step they did to put food in the jars to can it. Well, we don't do that at school, but we certainly do teach them how to use the blanching process to make broccoli sweeter and more colorful when they're using it in a quote-unquote raw broccoli salad. It has been shocked, you know, with cold water. It's not fully cooked. We teach them how to use that for kale, so to make it be more appealing and have a better texture for kale salads and things. So we teach them blanching techniques that can be used to produce very high-quality, colorful salads. We take vegetables, which are, you know, native North Carolina things like sweet potatoes, rutabagas, and teach them to roast. We also let them practice roasting broccoli, cauliflower, making zucchini fire sticks, which are, you know, zucchini squash seasoned up and roasted. So they get to practice a lot of different vegetables, many of which are farmed to school, which is a nice inclusion into the Institute. We do stir-fry options, some of which are vegetarian or all vegetables, and some of them are incorporating some meat or protein items. And several people have mentioned about being compliant with the school meal regulations, and we know there's a lot of those. And one of the hardest ones we have found to deal with is making flavorful food without so much salt, which, you know, when you add salt, it increases the sodium. Well, Chef Cindy and her team have helped us create a whole line of custom seasoning blends, which are very, very flavorful and low sodium. They can be used in some of the recipes we've developed, but they can also be used to allow students to sprinkle and customize their food items, you know, such as our pizza seasoning can be added, so when they get school pizza, they can sprinkle extra on it if they would like to. So we have a whole line of these seasonings ranging from, you know, ordinary stuff, maybe like a pasta or a pizza seasoning or an Italian blend, right on up to a jerk seasoning. And recipes are available, so schools can pick and choose which ones they would like to offer. I've already alluded to the use of a lot of farm-to-school or local ingredients in our institute. We partnered with the Farm to School group with North Carolina Department of Agriculture and are featuring better than 60 recipes that they helped develop and have woven all of those 60 in with our K-12 culinary recipes. So you can, you know, take a look at what's available through Farm to School at NCDA, or those of you who are doing individualized local farm-to-school purchasing can probably find some recipes which could be utilized for that. Another thing we give our graduates is what we call our kitchen hacks. They're genius tips to save time, get organized, and stay sane. And that's kind of our list that keeps growing year after year, and we actually gain kitchen hacks from our participants, because when we talk about this, we allow them to give us tips to add to the list, and we keep on going. So what do our graduates take with them? They take with them Teach It Forward lesson plans for a lot of topics. We give them a bank, a gift, if you will. It's kind of like Christmas in summer, of equipment, small equipment, that sort of thing they can take with them. They get a culinary apron and hat, and Susan Johnson, one of our chef ambassadors in the back, and I wanted to take off our jacket and give it to the lunch cafeteria person up here a few minutes ago, because we certainly want to encourage our folks to develop that professional attire. We have ended up with 51 manager sessions, producing over 1,200 Chef Ambassador graduates. We had over 150 administrators attend our kickoff session. Over 170 of them have participated in our K-12 Culinary Fundamentals for our administrator, and we have our next administrator course coming up in March. So any of you school nutrition people who've not participated, please sign up. And so what are our folks doing with it? You know, the most popular things are on the slide up here, so you can see what they're taking back with them. And we have a lot of opportunities to come. We have summer manager sessions. We have administrator courses coming up. We're developing some additional recipes, the family resource Lynn alluded to, and our new and continued collaborative partnerships. Because I'm running short on time, I'm not going to name out a lot of the partnerships. I probably would miss some if I did, but we have many, many people who participate with us. And a special shout out to our school districts who host us during the summer. And if you want more information, you can contact any of us with DPI, and you can also go to our website where we have all of the resources I've mentioned, the recipes, and lots of other K-12 culinary information. So thank you all, and let us know if you'd like to have more information and if you'd like to join up with us to promote this in some manner.
As we continue looking at the nutrition programs, I'd like to invite a dynamic duo to join me from Craven County. I have the great pleasure of introducing this afternoon Lauren Weyand, who is the school nutrition director in Craven County, home of Principal of the Year, Tabari Wallace. You heard about Tabari earlier today. She and Tabari have collaborated to bring about an amazing school nutrition program there. Congratulations on that. And last year at this time, Lauren was recognized for having the third highest participation growth in a high school in North Carolina. That's quite an accomplishment. She's joined by Sara, Yeager, who teaches culinary arts and hospitality management in Craven County Schools. She is specifically at Havelock High School, another Teacher of the Year. She's named the 2019-20 Teacher of the Year, Craven County Schools. So we're honored to have you and talk about your collaboration this afternoon about how we get kids to be involved in, engaged with their food preparation and their food choices. Welcome, duo.
So you stayed, and we are happy that you did, because we are about to give you some of our secrets to success in Craven County Schools. So what is the secret to elevating student meals? Well, let's see the next slide. We have the Rams, go Rams, Havelock High. We have the Bears, New Bern High Bears, and of course we have Tabari Wallace, the Eagles at West Craven High School. And let me tell you a little bit about this. I went to Craven County Schools back in August of 2018, and I inherited a warehouse full of food that the kids were not eating. So there I have a big dilemma. Lots of money on my hand, the food is not moving. So I decided to have a food show and I asked the staff, why aren't we moving this food from the warehouse? And they said, well, the kids don't like it. And I said, well, let the kids get involved in telling me how to prepare it so that they would eat it. Because number one, if they tell us, then they're more likely to eat it, right? So I had a food show at the end of the school year back in May. And before that, I called all my high school culinary teachers. I had a meeting. I said, okay, this is what I have in my warehouse. I have 700 cases of turkey ham, 550 cases of beans. That's one kind. I probably had 7 different kinds of it. And I said, okay, now this is the challenge that we have as school nutrition programs to feed kids. We get this food from USDA, and the kids aren't eating it. Can your culinary students create recipes that the other students would eat? Number 2, that's a marketing strategy. Because when they know their peers have developed this recipe for them, they're more likely to eat it again. And then it's advertised that way. So we had a culinary competition. We had the food show, and here we are today. We give them the guidelines, and you would hear from Sara. I'm not going to take time from Sara, because her school, the Rams, created a recipe called Rams Beans. That's what we named it for the menu. Using up those beans and that turkey ham, now I'm down to 50 cases of ham and 0 cases of that turkey, thanks to the Rams beans. I'm going to turn the time over to Sara.
All right, thank you guys. So you're officially the biggest class that I've ever taught. and this is going to be the shortest lesson I've ever taught, too. I am a culinary teacher at Havelock High School. I have taught there for 5 years, and last year I was so blessed to be named the County Teacher of the Year. Thank you. We have just done so much over the last 5 years at Havelock High School. I walked into the school about 6 years ago in the summer to a run-of-the-mill home ec program. And through a lot of collaboration with CTE and my principal, we have really brought it into the 21st century. And I'm so proud of my kids. You're going to see some of them in just a minute. I have a video at the end of the presentation. And it really just kind of goes to show what goes into that, and that's a lot of heart. It's a lot of planning on my part. And when I first started teaching, a lot of what I did revolved around going to the grocery store and shopping for labs, and we have a school-based enterprise that we feed our teachers on a bi-monthly basis or so. So it was really, really great to kind of step into a new avenue and really elevate nutrition by empowering our kids. And we did that by giving these kids a challenge, telling them all the parameters that they have in order to be in line with the regulations that we have. And we did use a lot of green beans, and we used a lot of turkey ham. And we created a dish that very closely resembles my grandma's green beans. I am a Southern girl at heart. I was raised in Wendell, North Carolina. So I was really proud when one of my kids came up to me and said, "Miss Yeager, we can make Southern green beans with this." So that's exactly what we did. And I was so excited when Lauren asked us to participate in the food show last year. So the challenge for me, last year I had an entire crew of beginner level kids, so I wasn't really dealing with a whole lot of experience. It was a little scary, but we did an in-house competition where each of my 12 lab groups came up with a dish, and then they voted. The kids voted on each other's dishes, and they elected 3 dishes to go to the food show and be showcased. So that's what you see here. Those are the kids that were in the groups, and we did a couple of different things. We did like a stir-fry dish, a pork barbecue dish, and the green bean dish that actually got put on the school lunch menu. And the planning with that, if you'll go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about the planning. They had to do it all on their own. I sat back for a couple of days, and I told them a lot of no's. A lot of no's. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. But it really showed them what our school system goes through when creating dishes for them to eat every day. So that was a really eye-opening experience, both for me and for them too. The collaboration that went into this event is outstanding. When you can take 3 rival high schools, the roots run deep in Craven County, and the rivals are big. So when you can take 3 high schools and pull them all together, all their culinary students, and then take vendors too, and put them all together and really empower students and give them the choices and tell them to taste all these foods and rate them and really just tell us what they want. That is a really cool thing. It was really great to kind of just have that opportunity to work together and just to kind of see the products from that. So here's some pictures just from the food show itself. You can kind of see we had like a really cute little theme going. We brought in a lot of elementary school students and gave them tablets to vote on their different foods that they went around and tasted. My students got to do that as well. And then adults did as well too. So it was a really, really cool event, and we are just so excited to do that again this year. But really and honestly, the best part for me as a teacher was to see the empowerment that came from it. You know, as a teacher, you constantly are pouring into your children, pouring in. So for me to be able to take a step back and watch them do this, they did it. I sat back and told them no. So for them to be able to do that, that is just a really, really cool experience for me and for them too. So I have a little video that I would like to show you that just these are my kids talking now. This video was done a couple weeks ago, so them reflecting back on the process. Was it difficult to create dishes based on the parameters that our school nutrition staff has to use?
It was pretty hard because we didn't really have much resources and items to use, and we had to be pretty creative to make our own menu off of it.
I thought it was interesting because we kind of were able to put input into the recipe, and we kind of thought about like what we would want, and then we were able to create it and like send it to them to be able to figure out what we wanted in the nutrition plan.
It's cool knowing that something that we did in class wasn't just a school assignment, and that people that we know in our community are actually eating these dishes that we made, and that we did something impactful.
We, the students, are eating the food, and if we don't like the food, then we're going to throw it away, and that's going to be wasteful. So if we, the students, are able to actually help be able to tell you what we want to be in the food, then it's going to be more powerful for us.
So do you think that giving students the power to choose what goes on the school lunch menus and to develop those recipes has an impact on the number of students eating school lunches and breakfasts?
Frankly, I do. Because if other students decide it for other students, they'll know they'll like it because they are, well, students really.
What are you most excited for about the food show this year?
I'm most excited to be able to have it hosted here and be able to vote on foods that we as students want on our menu, because then we have a deciding factor on what we eat here. And I mean, just having the opportunity to choose that just makes it a lot more enjoyable to eat food here.
So that was just a little snapshot. We're so excited to be able to host the food show this year. It's going to be at Havelock High School, and all 34 of my culinary students are going to be involved in some way. I have a team already working on dishes, and they're just really excited to do that. So I just want to leave you with this. I guarantee y'all, if we give them the power to choose, they'll tell you what they want, and food waste will go down, and the kids all around will be happier and healthier. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren and Sara. Thank you. What a powerful story. What a dynamic duo. Our next speaker, Braedyn Mallard, is here from Farmer Foodshare in Durham. And Braedyn is here to tell us about the steps that Farmer Foodshare is taking to not only increase access, but equally important, appreciation for healthy, nutritious foods. Braedyn, welcome.
How's everybody doing? Can I get a kale yeah? I think you can do better than that. All right, so I gave a shout out to Miss Sky. Miss Sky, where are you? Did she leave? Oh, she'd be so. There she is. I stole that from her. If Miss Sky is someone in our Durham County school nutrition team, and she is inspiring, but also makes you feel very bad about yourself and how much you've accomplished. So I encourage you to go talk to her because she is just a ball of energy and inspires me every day. So thank you, Miss Sky. I wanted to do the... So, Farmer Foodshare. So I'm Braedyn Mallard. I am a program manager at Farmer Foodshare. I'm also a registered dietitian. So I have, I'm a multi-stakeholder in the issue of school food, both from my organization and also just personally and professionally as a registered dietitian. So who is Farmer Foodshare? First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about who we are. That's our mission there and what we do. Then I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Farm to School, a very brief little intro to Farm to School, even more than what the NCDA does, but just what Farm to School programming is as a whole. And then we'll talk about the efforts that we as Farmer Foodshare are doing in Durham County and beyond with school nutrition to elevate it. So our mission is to reshape the local food system by... I just had a blank because I'm in front of a large group of people, so I'm going to look at it for 1 second. I know our mission, I promise. I promise. To reshape the local food system by removing barriers to both accessing and growing local food. So we take a systems approach to the issue of food, because a lot of times we focus on eaters and we don't necessarily think about the farmers. We kind of get in silos in the work we do. So for us, it's really important to think about all aspects of the food system and include that in the solution. So that's something we're always thinking about with everything we do. also in this, our work is rooted in a belief that every single person has the right to fresh, healthy food. It is a right that we believe everyone should have fresh, healthy food. And at the same time, it is also vital that farmers make a healthy living so they can thrive and not just survive. So, next slide, Andrew. Thank you. We do this work in 3 areas. There's 3 spaces we operate in. That's food sovereignty, food distribution, and food education. These are sort of the spaces we, as Farmer Foodshare, do the work. I'm not going to go into food sovereignty or food justice today. I'm going to talk about food distribution and food education because that's apropos to the conversation at hand. But if you're interested in knowing the work we do with our community food share program or the donation station program, which is rooted in more food sovereignty work, feel free to reach out to me, farmerfoodshare.org. I'm on there. I'd love to talk to you about it. But before I get into exactly the nuts and bolts of what we do, I'd like to tell you guys about Farm to School a little more. I'm going to be very brief about it because I could talk about Farm to School my entire time and why it's important and vital and all that it does to make kids more engaged in school and all the things like that. I will say, when Andrew emailed me to do this talk, I was very excited, and I was like, absolutely. And then once I read closer, and he said, could you do like a 1-minute description of Farm to School, I was less excited. But then I thought, I can do this. I can do this. But this is like, what came to mind for me was like, out of this whole process of preparing for this, was how many partners I reached out to and talked to, because that's really the work of Farm to School, is all about community. So I reached out to Tessa Thraves, who I don't think is here today. Click your clicker if you know her. See? I'm lucky enough to work with people that all of you guys know. So she is the coordinator for Farm to School at the Center for Environmental Farming Systems, and even more than that, but she's a genius at many things. And I said to her, hey, Tessa, if you were going to have a minute to tell people about Farm to School, what would you say? So I'm going to be honest that I have a ghostwriter who is Tessa Thraves, but she gave me the most genius points to highlight for you guys. So what is Farm to School? There's multiple components. Chef Susan talked about NCDA's Farm to School, getting the local produce into schools, but there's more to the Farm to School program. There's many components. So we have classroom education. You see the 3 things there: education, school gardens, and procurement. We're really talking about classroom education, hands-on learning, experiential learning education. That might be taste tests, cooking classes, and then the procurement piece, obviously, local, and then also promoting school food in the cafeteria and nutrition in the cafeteria. And I just want to say, we don't just do Farm to School. There's many Farm to School programs across the state of North Carolina, across the country to get inspired by. We don't just do Farm to School programming because it's fun, which it is. Like, it's absolutely a blast, and kids are excited by being engaged with fresh local food and fresh veggies generally. They really are. But we do it because it has bigger impacts, beyond just food. We know that we can address the access at an institutional level for kids by doing Farm to School. We know that it can decrease health disparities by doing that. There are ripple effects in Farm to School that are just phenomenal and research-backed as well. So I say that to say we should all get involved with Farm to School activities at whatever level we can. I'm always in rooms like this where I guess I'll just take a raise of hands, which no pressure, you don't have to raise your hand for this, but if you are a decision maker in any way, in school food or in getting access to food into institutions, could you raise your hand? Okay, there's a fair amount of you. And I would even say that to challenge all of us to think differently about our own power within our various fields we're in, think about little things you can do going out of today. I would just challenge you all. Little things you could do to implement more Farm to School activities in your schools, because it's going to have ripple effects for years and years in those kids' lives and beyond in the community. So moving on to, that's kind of Farm to School. So I'm going to talk about now what Farmer Foodshare does to implement Farm to School programming in Durham County. I have to point out that we've done this work, and I'll point them out when I get to them, with many partners that are in the room. I already pointed out one in Miss Sky, but so talking about food distribution, our programming that we do with food distribution is our wholesale market, and that really acts as an aggregator and distributor of fresh North Carolina produce across the Triangle. We work with about 55 small and mid-scale farmers across the state who would typically be left out of a lot of the institutional markets and markets that we've secured for them. So that's a key part of our work in bringing farmers into the fold of this work. But one of the big wins we've had is that, and one of the things we're focused on, heavily focused on, is institutional partners, getting farmers connected with institutions who have very stable buying power, because that is, for them, that is just lifeblood. It's really, really important. So we're very lucky in Durham County to have Jim Keaton as the Director of School Nutrition. Jim is in the back of the room there, if he could raise his hand. We've been very lucky that he's a great example, and sorry, Jim, I'm going to give you some praise right now. So if without him, we would not be where we are in Durham County. We currently deliver fresh North Carolina produce to all schools in Durham County. There's 2 North Carolina vegetables on the menu every single week that Farmer Foodshare delivers weekly. So that's a testament to him that he took the power he had and he has continued to push it forward. So thank you, Jim. You make it possible. So moving on to food ambassadors. So we've got the fresh local food in the cafeteria. Now we want to talk about food ambassadors and our food education programming. So this is the other realm that we play in. As a registered dietitian, I'm trained in nutrition education, all the things. So what we do is we go in and we do cafeteria taste tests in about 20 Durham public schools. I got to back up and say that we developed food ambassadors and the taste test program with our partners at Dine, Durham's Innovative Nutrition Education, who are also in the room today. Can you guys raise your hand? I know there's at least 2 of you here. Yeah, so Raina is back there. She's been a key partner in this program. So we are very lucky to have Dine in Durham. They're doing nutrition education in many Durham County public schools that are either 50% or more free and reduced lunch. So we've partnered with them to extend their nutrition education curriculum into the cafeteria. And so we taste the veggies with the kiddos. They get a prize for trying it, which is incredibly effective at getting them to try things they think are nasty. It blows my mind every time. Really, it's pretty incredible. And then they get to vote on what they thought of the veggie. They vote, do they love it, like it, or maybe next time. All positive all the time. But generally, anecdotally, I'd like to share that one of the most popular veggies we do, over 75% of the kids over the past 2 years have liked or loved our kale that we do. Yeah, no one ever believes it, but they do. Kale, yeah. Can I get a kale, yeah? Thank you, guys. So let's see. So I should say, too, that the way our program works, just to think about the scale, is we do 2 cafeteria taste tests per school per year, and that's 20 schools per year. So we talk to over 8,000 kids every year doing our taste testing. So it's been a blast. We love it. And I just want to, again, implore you all to see what you can do in your community, in your space, to bring more farm-to-school programming to your school. Thank you, guys.